How's it going, everybody? RyeSquad here today, and we are back with your Calgary Flames franchise mode here in season number 3 at January 1st, ready to get up to the deadline and see if we can make the playoffs for the first time in this save. But before we get started, guys, the support on this series has been absolutely phenomenal, and I almost feel bad, but this week I am on vacation. I'm going to Nashville, so the videos are not going to come out quite as much. You guys probably already noticed that if you were looking for a video on Monday. I'm going to try and get at least 2 out, maybe 3 out this week while I'm on vacation, but for now, if it's a lighter week, yeah, that's why. But the last one, we ended in an interesting spot. 1 point off the Canucks for the top spot, but we're also only at 40 points, which is tied for a wild card spot. So if we did end up slipping, we could get bounced pretty far down the standings, right? Really tumble down. We could go down as far as 6th in our own division. So right now we're in a very precarious position, and there's some big contracts to be handing out. The two big names here, obviously, are Rasmus Andersson and Spencer Knight. Spencer Knight is a restricted free agent, and I feel like he's got no leverage to me. He's playing like absolute dog water. 885 save percentage in the 385. Now it's gotten better from the 477 he was at, but with the team in front of him improving as much as it did, I assumed he would also improve, his stats, but he actually has taken a nosedive. It might be part of the reason why we are not winning games like I think we should. And the other guy is Rasmus Andersson. Now this is a really tough one. Rasmus Andersson is an amazing, amazing two-way defender. I mean, he does it all. He's about a point per game this season too. 26 minutes, eating up a ton of ice time, matches the top pairing perfectly with our current coach, and he's got 5 X factors. Like, you can't really beat it. However, his base ask is $10.225 million for 4 years. Now that would get him till he's 33, which isn't bad, but $10 million for a 33-year-old defenseman right now, I'm not sure. I think I'm going to see how we do over the next month, and then the trade deadline, I think, is going to be early March. Let me double check when it is. We'll take a look. Yeah, it's going to be early March, so probably we'll get up to this game against Tampa Bay, and then the 21st, I'll take a look at how we're doing then. I am not afraid to trade Rasmus Andersson for as much as I can get. Maybe package him with Alexis Lafreniere. Again, I still feel like the team is in need of somebody at the top end to lead us, right? Andersson, he's there. He's a great player. I just don't know if he's the guy that's going to lead and generate wins for us. And I think we could potentially get a lot in return. And yes, he's a UFA. So if we trade him to a team that doesn't have enough cap space to match his ask, he may end up hitting free agency, and I would not be opposed to trading him for a haul and then going back out in free agency and saying, hey, you'll want to come back, because that would be awesome if we could trade him for a bunch and then re-sign him for like a 3-year, 4-year deal anyway. I think that would be the best of both worlds. So that's what I'm going to try and do. That's really trying to thread the needle. That's right there, right? It's got to be perfect for me to pull this off, but I might, and I think it'd be awesome if I did. So one thing I wanted to check is, do I have the scouts assigned? Does not look like I have scouts assigned. They're all done here at the beginning of January. Let's just go up to like the 3rd or the 5th. I think I might have set it to the 5th. I can't remember, but I got to set up the scouts. I may go a game or 2, and then I'll be back once we're ready to actually get the simulation underway. So you guys are probably smarter than me. Took me a few seconds to realize I looked at the pro scouts. The amateur scouts are good until March. So basically up until the deadline, they are good. So we can just get the simulation going. Hopefully we do get on a little bit of a hot streak here, because I feel like if we just get hot, we can separate ourselves from the rest of the division, right? If we can get up, into the probably upper 60s, right? I don't know how many games until the trade deadline, probably 20. So if we can, probably get 30 of the 40 points, that'd be a lot. But I feel like at 70 points, we would really establish ourselves as a true playoff contender. And I probably would not trade Rasmus Andersson in that scenario. But let's get up through the month of January, see what's going on. We do beat Philly and Toronto right off the rip here, winning in a shootout against Ottawa before we drop a game to Boston. We pick it back up. I don't think I acquired anybody over 30. I'm glad I could help. I definitely didn't. but if Anthony's going to give me credit for completing that, I'm glad I can get that done. I completely forgot about it. Holy smokes. That could have been bad. But after taking a couple L's, we bounced back with 2 wins, 2 losses, and then a win and a loss. So we are a very, very average team, but the good news is we are still in a divisional spot. Rasmus Andersson still leads the way for the team, and 55 points would be good enough for a wild card spot too. So should we drop down from the Golden Knights, we could still end up making the playoffs. 55 points feels pretty average. It just happens to be that our division is very not good. As far as who's done well in this last month, I'm really, really interested. Huberdeau, Kuzmenko, Lindholm, they continue to do actually pretty well. Connor Zary, Mangiapane, Duclair, Lafreniere, 30 points +5. That's nice to see that. JJ Peterka, I think, has improved his plus-minus, so that's good to see. I think we've kind of figured out our middle 6. I think we finally settled on something that works, and we're good to keep going. We're at the All-Star break here, but I'm good to keep simulating. I don't think we need to stop. Oh, man, we'll get up to that point I said, the 21st, right after the Tampa Bay game here. I'm actually really intrigued to see how we do. This is going to be a big 2 weeks for the team. If they drop a lot of games or don't really pick up a ton of points, yep, oh gosh, that might be the nail in the coffin. A 4-game losing streak, 1-4-1 here in the month of February when we needed it most. 58 points. Now, we're not dead in the water yet. We have played 2 more games than the Coyotes, 3 more games than the Predators. We're 3 points behind them. But the Golden Knights, we played the same amount of games, and we're only 4 points back. Question is, Rasmus Andersson has a ton of trade. I mean, that is a ton of trade value, guys. I'm sure I can make something happen. If I did end up looking to trade him. I'm sure somebody wants him, and there's plenty of value out there. So I'm going to keep looking. Obviously, I got to do my own manual trade because for whatever reason, nobody wants Rasmus Andersson on his own. But let's see here. Yeah, $4.5 million, and our cap hit only goes down by a couple $100,000. So this is a conversation I had with one of the moderators. So Rasmus Andersson here is making $4.55 million, but the remaining salary is $1.34. Yeah, 1.34. Yep, that's exactly what it is. You got to look at remaining salary. So, I believe that is, I don't know if that's new or different or what, but, okay, the Buffalo Sabres want them, but they are over the cap. So if we were to go look at the Buffalo Sabres, we'd have to take a look at we could get Tage Thompson. Are you kidding? I mean, we probably couldn't get Tage Thompson, but that's pretty even. Tage Thompson here is a 90 overall elite first line forward. He's a power forward that's got puck on a string. He's got all these X factors. And they would do this trade. And Thompson's cap hit, I feel like, is very manageable for the type of player he is. Now, he's having a big down year in real life, but in this universe, this is the kind of trade that I could even go for. We would save money based on what Anderson's asking for. But yeah, that's a really interesting one. I can't believe that is even a possibility. We could also go after a guy like Korchinski here. He's not signed to an extension. He probably wants a massive one. But Kevin Korchinski does have one X factor. Oh my God, 98 passing, 90. This could be an absolute stud. You add him and then give me also Reichel, who's 23 and an expiring deal. That's about even, right? Will these trades go through? Probably not, but looking at the trade value, it's pretty safe to say that that's fairly even. Now, I'm going to keep looking through the teams. Wow, the Columbus Blue Jackets all of a sudden just turned it around. Holy smoke. Parashak, I believe, was the first round pick, though, a couple years ago, actually. I believe he went right after a pick or two after Mason Jackson. But let's see here. We'll go back. We'll call the Oilers. They do want Rasmus Andersson. Dmitry Zykov for Rasmus Andersson, and we could maybe get more. This feels like a no-brainer. Dmitry Zykov is an 88, listed as a second-line forward. Already got a great shooting category. Fits all the lines. This is one that I could consider doing. This is absolutely one that I can consider doing, and then I could potentially also add in Edmonton's first. Now, that's probably not going to go through, but I would be willing to add in this scenario to get their first and Dmitry Zykov. You guys know I've been eyeing up Zykov. Not a video goes by when I don't go after Dmitry Zykov. But he's got 50 points in 57 games. He is playing 19 and a half minutes, so a ton of minutes. Good giveaway to takeaway ratio this season, so he has improved his defensive game, which you can see with an 89 defensive awareness, 92 offensive awareness. His puck skills do need to grow a bit, but that is totally doable for him to grow those puck skills. So this is the kind of trade I'd be thinking about. I'm not sure if I would rather go after Dmitry Zykov. He does have another year of team control, but then he's probably going to ask for 12-13, or potentially calling the Buffalo Sabres back about Tage Thompson. I mean, the fact that Rasmus Andersson is equal to Tage Thompson, or actually outvalues Tage Thompson, is wild to me. And I think it's the kind of trade that would help us now. Like, I really do think it would help us now. And Tage Thompson, I don't think is that old. I'm going to take a look at this one. Tage Thompson is 28, so he's about in line with the rest of the team. There's also Dylan Cousins, who's 88, still has a little bit of room to grow. As a two-way forward, though, does not have the shot, does fit the first line. You could potentially add into Thompson, maybe a Jack Quinn, probably a Yuri Kulik or an Isaac Rozan. A Yuri Kulik here would be a great addition. Yuri Kulik and Tage Thompson for Rasmus Andersson. This is another sniper. You guys know we need goal scorers. I mean, we'd be just stealing all the Sabres players, but I feel like that's a trade that I could do. I'm going to keep looking. But man, I'm going to do the fine trade and see what teams offer or ask for, right? I'll identify some players we could go after. For example, like I want to see, will they even ask for? Is there a trade to be found? There is a trade to be found. 1-for-1. They would do the deal 1-for-1. Looking at the value, I'd say Rasmus Andersson has a higher trade bar. I think it's pretty clear he's got a higher trade bar to me. They want him. I might consider adding to this trade, right? Because looking at the value, I think, I'm leaning back just to really get a good proportion of it. Yeah, I'm trying to actually just measure with my fingers right now. Yeah, it's a little bit more valuable on our side, but not by as much as I think it is. So that could easily be a trade. Now, what about Dmitry Zykov, right? Because I think Dmitry Zykov can even be better than a Tage Thompson. So if we go to the Edmonton Oilers, Dmitry Zykov, he's got another year left on an ELC. Oh man, they want a lot of futures. Rensfeldt, Hughes, and Coughlin, or Mason Jackson, who's I think he's going to be our new Rasmus Andersson in just like one season. He's killing it. Kral is fine, and Cormier, nah. I don't think I want to do that one. The Tage Thompson straight up for Rasmus Andersson, I feel like I could get more. Let me keep looking, but I may end up doing that deal. All right, guys. I think I am going to go after Tage Thompson. Now, some of you might be upset because I'm a Buffalo fan. You think that's what's going into this, but I'm really looking at Tage Thompson versus Zykov. I think 4 years of Tage Thompson in his prime at 7.1. I think it's going to be about half, or at least $5 million less than the contract that Dmitry Zykov will ask for starting in the summer. I think that Dmitry Zykov is going to ask for at least 12, maybe 13 million when he needs a new contract extension. Now, next year, right, it's technically Zykov's last year of his ELC, so he's still cheaper than Tage. But I feel like Tage Thompson is exactly what we need now. An elite, he's going to put up points, he's going to put up goals. You guys can see he's got 53 points in 55 games. I think putting him with Lindholm and Huberdeau, he's going to that line is going to be great, and that allows us to bump down a guy, Kuzmenko actually would probably stay on that top line. I may move Lindholm down to the second line, which then immediately elevates that line in a massive way, right? He's a great two-way guy. He doesn't put up too many points, but now all of a sudden, he is playing with Lafreniere and Inzari or Mangiapane, and that line could then, I do think our middle six does need some assistance, and maybe moving Lindholm down or keeping Lindholm up there and moving Jonathan Huberdeau down, which could be another option here, right? He's listed as a second line forward. You know what? Huberdeau on the second line might be the better idea. Kuzmenko on the left, Tage Thompson in the middle, and Lindholm on the right, I think is a great first line. And then Huberdeau with Zari and Lafreniere. And then Mangiapane playing with Ruzicka and Duclair. Oh, man. Maybe Ruzicka then. Oh, I think I then have one too many players. Maybe we do need to move on from Lafreniere while we still have the value. I'm also trying to get Mark Giordano. I'm going to need another defenseman, and he is he's 42, 81, but I kind of have to bring him back, right? Like, I've got the opportunity to do it. It's not going to cost me anymore to get him. I asked them what would it take to get Thompson and Giordano, and I got a fifth. And I threw the fifth in there myself, but I'm so hesitant now to pull the trigger on Tage Thompson. But with the X Factor already, he helps us out now. The question is Zykov going to get that much better? Is he going to get to a 92, 93, 94? That all of a sudden blows Tage Thompson out of the water, and he's scoring goals and winning awards, and Tage Thompson is doing okay, and, you know, he doesn't really have room for growth. So this is my one option, all right? The fifth is not going to happen. So just think of Tage Thompson and Mark Giordano. I'm going to build a package for what I think I could get Zykov with, and then we'll see. We'll see. I'll compare the two packages. Oh, this is so tough. So I'm taking a look at the Edmonton Oilers right now, and I just wanted to see where they were playing Zykov. He's on the wing of McDavid and Draisaitl. I wonder just how many points he'd have on his own line when he is the play driver. That's the only thing I'm concerned of, right? 19 years old, medium elite. He's a sniper. He's putting, you know, he's got him and Tage Thompson have the same shooting category. I took a picture of Tage Thompson's stats on my phone, and I can just verbally compare them for you guys. The offensive awareness is 3 points lower for Dmitry Zykov, but it's really the puck skills where the big Tage Thompson factor comes in with 92 passing and 93 puck control compared to Zykov's 87. I worry that that's going to hamper his ability to put up too many points now. We would get a better, I guess it's technically a better bottom pairing defenseman back here in Matthias Ekholm. And Zykov does have one more year left at that ELC. So we'd clear a lot of cap, not paying Anderson the $10 million and also not paying Tage Thompson $7 million, 7.1. We'd be paying Zykov less than $1 million. But then the question comes when, I wonder if there's a package that could be centered around, maybe, can I get both? Can I trade away Alexis Lafreniere for Zykov, or some kind of Tage Thompson package? This is probably the other one. I think it's just the security of Tage Thompson's contract, right? 7.1 for a 90 overall that has his kind of like base level stats and is going to put up a ton of points. That's the kind of guy to me that I'd like to build around, right? Zykov, he's going to ask, like I said, for 10 plus million at least. If Rasmus Anderson's asking for 10.5 for 4 years as a 28-year-old 89, I can only imagine what Dmitry Zykov is going to ask for after a couple years of playing with McDavid and Draisaitl. So I'm going to look to build a package around Alexis Lafreniere for Zykov, and then maybe do the Anderson for Gio and Tage. I'm going to take a look. All right, so I've built a potential package for Zykov that's centered around Alexis Lafreniere, and some of you may be shocked to see Jorgen Rensfeldt here on the option to trade. There's a couple reasons why I'd be okay with this. I'm getting the best player in the deal. He's only 1 year older than Rensfeldt. Rensfeldt may have just turned 18. Maybe Zykov is turning 20. They're not that far apart in age, right? Rensfeldt was the year after. They're one draft year apart. Am I giving up a couple of years of team control on Rensfeldt to get Zykov? Yes. But Rensfeldt as a 78 two-way forward, I don't think he'll ever have the kind of impact that Dmitry Zykov would have. Dmitry Zykov's already in the mid-90s for his shooting category, has 92 offensive awareness, and his defensive category is certainly no slouch with 89 defensive awareness, 80 faceoffs, and then 86 stick checking. His puck skills, I think for an elite number one center, do need to improve, but the guy can skate, and he's not that physical, but I'm not that concerned for my 6'2" sniper to be overly physical. Johan Rensfeldt is not there yet, obviously. It's his rookie season. He'd have to jump massively, I think, in 1 year, right? So he's about a year and a half behind Dmitry Zykov, right? Zykov got taken after the first year. Rensfeldt got taken after the second year. So Dmitry Zykov has 1 year of NHL experience as well as half this season. I think for him to already be an 88 I think it's worth it. We'll figure out the contract situation later. Lafreniere's, I mean, really, we've kind of decided that he's never going to be what we want him to be, and his value is only going to go down from here, right? He is half of this, I mean, I'd say a third of this trade value. I'm throwing the second in just because, just to get a pick. I don't think it'll go through, but I just kind of want to get the pick. And then this will allow me to trade Anderson for Tage Thompson and Giordano. So we keep Mason Jackson. I just think right now we're in year number 3. We're not ascending in the way we want to. We're kind of taking this slow approach. I want to catapult us into serious Stanley Cup contention, and I think these are the trades to do it. I'm sacrificing the future, but we're going for it, and I want to go for it. So I'm going to see if this trade will go through. It's rejected. I kind of figured that would be the case. Let me see if I can throw in a 4th. This is kind of overwhelming in trade value. Let me see about next year's 3rd. Before I jump straight to the 4th, I'll whittle my way down. Rensfeldt and Lafreniere for Zykov is rejected. You aren't where you need to be, and they're not particularly interested in what I'm sending them. Okay, skaters matching the block. There's really not many players here that I'm overly interested in that they have rookie skaters either. There's a couple guys here that are potentially intriguing. A low top 6 in Petrov at 22, at 77, right? I don't think it's worth it. So I think what we'll do is a 4th round pick. We'll keep working the pick down. Trade rejected, quite far off. We'll just throw it on there, quite far off as well. But this is why we have draft picks. We have 3 third-round picks. Let's send them their 3rd round pick back. Rensfeldt and a 3rd, and Lafreniere for Zykov. Trade rejected, quite far off in value. That's fine. You know what? I'll even throw the Avalanche 2nd round pick in the deal. I think to get Zykov, guys, it's absolutely worth it. Trade accepted. Consider it a done deal. So we throw the 2nd in there, and we end up getting Dmitry Zykov. Now, we are not done. I'm going to best lines it for now, but we're going to call Buffalo back about that Rasmus Anderson trade, seeing if they're still interested in it. So Tage Thompson, and then we look at defensemen, and Mark Giordano is there. I promised the coach that I'd get some veteran leadership. It's right here. Rasmus Anderson, straight up for these 2 players. This is a hockey trade, if I've ever seen one. I don't know if the Sabres, I don't think the Sabres would ever give up Tage Thompson, but I'm not here to, sweeten it just a touch. So we might be able to actually sneak a 5th round pick back in the deal. Now, some of you might be saying, why get Giordano and just get a higher pick? Yes, but also it's Mark Giordano. Bring him back. Come on. I didn't get a Ginla's kid, so I feel like I owe it to you Flames fans that are watching this to bring back Giordano. A 5th round pick, and there we go. Tage Thompson is now on the roster as well. 21 skaters are here. We are ready to get things going. Let's just best lines it. I will take a look at what they have. But man, oh man, I think we just immediately boosted our roster right now. So let's see here. What are the lines looking like? It's Kuzmenko, Thompson, Lindholm. I think what I want to do, oh man. So a +4 with Kuzmenko, Thompson, and then Zykov. Thompson can actually play right wing. Oh, it didn't do anything. And I think Zykov actually might be 1 point better at faceoffs. He is actually. So Kuzmenko, Zykov, Thompson, and then we've got Huberdeau, Lindholm, Mangiapane, Duclair with Zari and Peterka, and then Pelchier, Ruzishka, and Yamamoto. Now, Mangiapane, he is doing well. The question is, though, he's got 4 more years at 4.25, and I think we have too many of these 84 type players. We now need, I think, to go get ourselves another defenseman, just one more top 4 defenseman, and Mangiapane might be the guy to use to get it. I think Duclair is fine. He's got, I think, just another year. Actually, Duclair's only got what? One more year after this at 5.25. I think whichever one might have more value. Mangiapane signed to a really solid deal, actually. I may move Duclair, so we end up having lines that look like this, and all of a sudden, this forward core, I believe in. I believe that this forward core is capable of winning a playoff series or 2. Now I just need to find out what to do. There are so many trades happening. I'm glad I stopped this early before the trade deadline. So Mangiapane definitely has more trade value than Anthony Duclair, but Anthony Duclair still might be able to fetch us a decent level defenseman. I don't want picks. Josh Manson, a third and home, right? That's the kind of deal I'm looking for. Thank you, Colorado. That's the kind of call that I was hoping to field. Carson Lambos, I don't know. I don't know if he's good or not, but I mean, another team that's willing to part with a defenseman for us. Eric Johnson, definitely not willing to take him, nor am I taking on OEL or Jake McCabe, but they're filling the need that I was asking for. Ryan McDonough, Luke Shen, there's options out there for defensemen. Sean Walker, John Klingberg. I think there's plenty of options here. I think I want to take a look at that Josh Manson trade. Is Manson a top 4 defenseman? We'll see. Manson is an 83 at 34 defensive defense. We don't have any of those. He would slot perfectly on the second pairing. We get a 3rd round pick next year and home. Why are you giving me an 80 overall fringe starter? I don't want that. I will take more if you're willing to give me more. How much value was home? Not much. Rookie skaters, anybody you're looking to part with that looks potentially interesting. There is Cyrus Foot. I was going to say, that's not Kale Foot. There's Hanzik. You guys can see, here's what Hanzik turned into. Not much. He's playing a 4th line role for them with 13 points and is a -10. So I feel like I did well there to move on from that. So I would actually take another 3rd. I'll take Manson and 2 thirds for Duclair if they're willing to give it. I don't think they will be, but hey, you never know. They were willing to give me a 3rd and then home. I guess I could flip home again, but I think Josh Manson, I mean, I know he's 34, but I feel like we can address that in the offseason. Another potential defenseman to play there. And we also, I mean, we've got Ty Smith potentially if he jumps at all. We've got Oleg Brizgalov, who's already up to a 72. I believe he was a 68 when we drafted him. He's now a 72 halfway through season number 1. That's good news. That could be another player to come up for us. But looking at this, like if we add in Manson, then all of a sudden we've got an 86 and 85. It's a little weak, but it's okay. Hughes and then Manson, they might be a perfect pairing in the middle. And then Cormier and Coughlin or Giordano, any of these guys, right? I think this is a good deal. Duclair, only 1 year left. He's been good for us. You know, he was fine. 50 points last year with 20 goals. He's on pace to do something a bit better as far as goal scoring, but he is a -11. Playing a lot less ice time too. So I think this is a fine trade. Manson for 2 thirds. Okay, so but if I add in the goaltender, will they still say no? I'll take on home, and then I could always flip home at the deadline. He's an 80 overall goaltender. Like, that's not bad at all. Will this trade go through? Beautiful. So we move on from Anthony Duclair, a 3rd line sniper for us, and we bring in Josh Manson to be a middle pairing defenseman for us. We have, I'm banking very heavily on Mason Jackson. I really am right now. I'm starting to realize that if Mason Jackson plateaus here, we're in trouble. But if he continues to develop at the rate he is, 1985, I think we've got a stud on our hands. And we have 3 goalies on the roster. I do want to send Home down. I'll send him down in the system. All skaters. Matt Coronado is also another guy that could potentially fill some bottom roles. And I think Kral Johansson. Yeah, I think, how many defensemen do we have in the NHL? Defensemen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to send Kral down. That's fine. And then we will call up a forward just to be scratched in this in the NHL. So Johnson Falby, yeah, we'll call him back up. I don't know why he got sent down, but there we go. Sending Kral down. Perfect. And so who's going to need to clear waivers? Home and Kral. I'll waive, shoot. I may need to trade Home, flip him right now. Kral needs to clear waivers. He may not clear waivers either. The question is moving on from those guys now or trading them. I'm going to trust that they make it through waivers. Okay. I have no idea if they did or did not, but I'm going to edit the lines and I'll show you guys the final product in just a second. All right, so I've wrapped up creating the lines, getting everything all set. We've got the Kuzmenko, Thompson, Zykov line, the Huberdeau, Lindholm, Mangiapane line, Zari, Ruzicka, and Peterka, Peltier, Johansson, Yamamoto. I feel like this is a really balanced and also really strong, especially top 9 in the fourth line. I think is actually pretty decent because Yamamoto, that trade earlier in the season, is turning out to be great for us. Johansson now comes in as the fourth line center, which I think is absolutely perfect for him. I think he's decent defensively, and I think he's that veteran presence at 33. I love the fact that we get a +4 on the top line and a +5 on the second line now. The third line gets a +1, so they're technically all 85s in the simulation. And then defensively, we've got Hannafin with Jackson, Manson with Hughes, and then Cormier with Coghlan. Now, Hughes, I'm hoping Hughes can take the step, right? They had him up here playing next to Noah Hannafin, but I really wanted Mason Jackson to get as much ice time as possible. Now, if he really starts to get hurt and like minus, he goes way down in his plus minus and doesn't put up points, then we might flip him and Hughes, but Jackson is the better player now, has the better potential. Luke Hughes with 83 low elite. He's signed to a nice deal, right? Four more years, $4 million, I feel like is fine for him. And then you take a look at the power play. He's the quarterback on our number 1 power play. So it's Tage Thompson, Kuzmenko, Zykov, and then Huberdeau gets the nod over Lindholm here because I figured I wanted to have Lindholm balance it out here on the power play number 2. Mason Jackson gets that quarterback opportunity with Mangiapane, Peterka, and Zari joining them too. On the penalty kill, it's Zari and Lindholm getting Lindholm the ice time, Tage and Peterka, the 2 Sabres, Ruzicka and Peltier. I don't know if I want, if I don't, actually, I think it's probably, oh wow, none of them fit. So it's not a matter of who's on it, I don't think. I think I want those guys getting the ice time. But for now, I'm very, very happy with how this team looks. Guys, I think we could go on a run here. I think we could end the season really, really strong. In AHL, I'm going to go with head coach preferred lines, Coronado. Wow, they're getting a +3 there. Lecker Miyake needs to come up here instead of Bjork. And then we get a plus there as well. So he'll come up and join the team next season. It's definitely going to be exciting to see that. Cole Schwint, Roy Currens. Yeah, does anybody here have higher potential? Pospisil? No, I think these guys are all fine. It's actually a pretty good AHL team too. I'm very happy with it. Nikolaev here, yeah. And then on the blue line down here is Ty Smith with Kuznetsov. Actually, I think if I put Kral up, there we go. Kuznetsov then plays with Solovyov, and then Gilbert and Lyle. And then in goal right now, we've got Holm and Nico Dawes, so an upgrade for the AHL goaltenders as well. They did actually make it through waivers, so Dansk and Kvaka are fine. Hellenius, Konsta Hellenius, I think I'd want him playing, so I'm actually going to get him in there over Sjoberg. There, yeah, perfect. Hellenius, and then can go up over and then up over Siana, over Pospisil. There we go. Keep the +3. So there we go. All set with the lines, guys. The +4, +5. I'm really excited with the top 6 now. And we got Zykov, who we've been trying to get for a long time. We have Tage Thompson, and we should have a decent amount of cap space still, too. I know we just used $7 million of it, but let's take a look at really who is expiring. Josh Manson, Mark Giordano, Coghlan, Yamamoto, right? Those are the big skaters. Josh Manson is the number 1 skater. He wants 2 years at 4.4. We have $24 million in cap space available now. Spencer Knight's contract extension, he's actually asking for a lot more reasonable contract extension. So even if I gave him a 7-year, $13 million deal, we'd still have about $10+ million to spend there. So honestly, I'm very happy with how those couple trades went. Now the locker room, we'll have to get some locker room chemistry and fast, and the boys out on an outing, go bowling, have some hot dogs like they do in Be a Pro, and we'll be right there. But as far as what's going to happen at the deadline, I don't think much. I think we made our trades here on the 21st. So I'm going to get up to March 5th is when I assigned the scouts. We are being scored on way too often. Buying time. Yeah, I just made a ton of trades here, Anthony. I promise. I just need a couple. I need a bit more. He's going to give me, okay, come back and see me about this. I'm going to disagree. He's got full management morale, so this won't hurt him too much, I don't believe. -2 morale. He's still looking fine on the morale side of things. But here we go. We lose to Columbus 5-2. Dmitry Zykov after 2 games. I'm going to persuade because it's convincing here. Maybe you're right, but I'm not certain I can snap out of this. Oh my God. Is he a problem child? Is he... Oh man, no, please don't lose tons of morale now. Oh my God, all these losses piling up. Oh my God, we do get 2 wins though. But a 7-1 L. And we have 63 points. We're 5 points out of the playoffs. We're 3 points behind the Kraken. I really do think that we can step it up. I really, really do. Locker room chemistry is going down. Not great. Oh, God. And yeah, the fan happiness is not great either. I feel like those were good trades, though. I think I just need to... This is now a team I can let ride. This is a team I don't need to tinker with too much. I feel like I've been trying desperately to find a future and a star right now, and I feel like we did that with Tage and Zykov. So I'm going to set up the scouts, and then really the deadline's going to be quiet. I'll poke around. I'll see what's going on, but don't expect too much there. All right, so the scouts are all assigned, and another thing I should mention, guys, our coach's contract actually just expires after this season. He's in the last year of his deal, so if we wanted to move on from our head coaching staff, like the whole staff, besides the goaltending coach I signed, if we wanted to move on from the whole staff, we could, if we absolutely wanted to. Maybe more towards a forward-oriented coach, get a defenseman coach as well, but a guy that's got an offensive style, things like that. We're certainly not out of the playoff hunt by any stretch, right? We don't need to talk about firing our coach, but I am worried that I might have hurt the locker room chemistry doing that mid-season, but I didn't think there was a better time. I think that was really the best time to make those trades. I think they are going to work out in the long run, and I'm very excited to see them. But, we've only played 6 games with our new skaters. I did take a look at the stats. Tage Thompson, with the Calgary Flames, has 5 points, but 4 goals in 6 games is great, shooting 18%. He is a -2, not the best, but, he's doing fine. And then we just jumped down to Dmitry Zykov, both players doing better than anybody else on our team. He has 3 power play points, so that's 5 out of 6, but he's a -4. So the top line seems like it's missing maybe a two-way forward. Andrei Kuzmenko, is fine. Huberdeau, he's been here. Lindholm, maybe we put Lindholm back on the top line and move Kuzmenko down to get some second line firepower. That could definitely be a move we do. Defensively, Mark Giordano hasn't played, but it's kind of sad that he's got the most points. Mason Jackson's down. He was a +8. He's now a -6 since the trade per game. And then Josh Manson is a -1. So I think what I might need to do is put Elias Lindholm on the top line and move Kuzmenko down. I know Kuzmenko's been killing it this season for us, but I think what we need is a bit more defensive stability here. So if I move Kuzmenko down, do we have anybody that can play center here? Not really. If I do this, I guess Huberdeau is now going to be our new center with his 70 faceoffs. I mean, it could work. Ruzicka is up down to an 81. What happened to him? Why is he now down to an 81? Is it his morale, maybe? Connor Zary can play center with Huberdeau and Kuzmenko, and then Mangiapane goes down with Ruzicka and Peterka. That's not a bad idea, I don't think. A little bit more balance on every line, right? Connor Zary, the two-way forward with the sniper and the playmaker. We've got Elias Lindholm, the playmaker with the power forward and the sniper, right? A more offensive-oriented line. And then our third line is a power forward with two-way forwards. So I think it's a bit more balanced now. We don't get the +5 and the +4, but I think we might stop shedding goals so significantly on the back end. So I think those are the lines we're going to rock with. And here we go. It's deadline day. I don't think much is going to happen. One thing I do want to see, we are listed as a conservative buyer. The owner goals here. What is his happiness? He is okay. He's not below the middle threshold. How is our profit doing? That is, I guess, what is most important to him. We need to make close to, hey, our profit is 16.9 million. So we've already made the profit he's looking for. Now it's going to continue dropping a little bit, but 87%, I feel like we can do that, especially if we sneak our way into the playoffs. But let's go ahead. I'm going to keep our current ticket prices. We've already sold half of everything. Actually, I'm going to take a look. Yep. Overall trend is up. We're going to leave them where they are. And season ticket advertising, I can go to the marketing budget. It's not going to be much. I'd like to maybe less general advertising and more season ticket advertising. There we go. Guaranteed revenue, right? And then now we'll be a conservative buyer. I agree with that take. We're a conservative buyer. We'll be in the market for the right stuff and the right price, but I'm not actively going out and trying to acquire Lindholm and Ehlers and all of those guys. If anything, I'd be looking more at futures. Oh my God, UC Saros is available. He's probably very unhappy. Frederick Anderson, yeah, he's got more value than Frederick Anderson, but At 7 years at 7.1, no trades found. I figured that we are not going to have many assets that are expendable. I mean, I probably, if I was going, I shouldn't be going all in. But I would be going after a guy like Lindholm. That would make a lot of sense. Dmitry Orlov. I like the idea of Sean Durzi better. What would it take to get Sean Durzi? It would take Luke Cormier 2/3, Luke Hughes, Hellenius in 2/3, Jekko in 2/3. I do like the idea of Jekko in 2/3 to get an upgrade here on the blue line. We have multiple thirds to play with. Sean Durzi here is an 85 two-way defender. He's an expiring contract, but he is really, really good. And it would allow Mason Jackson to potentially play alongside. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to give up the Islanders third. I think that is this, actually. Are those this year's thirds? They are this year's thirds. No, are those next year's thirds? Yeah, they are next year's thirds, actually 2027. So I'll give up one of this year's. I'll give up the Canucks third this year. So there we go. Jekko in 2/3 for Sean Durzi. I like the deal. Is it going to go through? Yes, it will. There we go. So I'm happy to have Sean Durzi on the team. Now that looks at our defensemen, it's now Hannafin, Jackson, Durzi, all 85 plus with Luke Hughes, Josh Manson, Cormier, Giordano, and or Coghlan scratched. Coghlan doesn't want an extension, so maybe he's a guy that I could look to move for some picks. It might hurt the locker room a bit, but it's better than sending him down to the minors, I think, and then just dealing with that nonsense, right? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with Giordano and then Coghlan. I think Coghlan maybe on the move. A 4th round pick seems to be the going rate for him. A 3rd round pick. Wow, we can get another third. Are you kidding me? I would take a 3rd round pick for him. A 3rd round pick from the Columbus Blue Jackets this year, but they're very, very good. They're going to be bad 3rd round picks, but it's still fine to me to get a 3rd. I feel like for Coghlan, who I will end up just sending down at this point. I'm not going to send down Mark Giordano, that's for sure. So who's 3rd? The Maple Leafs 3rd? I think the Maple Leafs are all right this season. The Blue Jackets were really good last time I checked, so I'm going to take the 3rd for Coghlan. So there we go. Doesn't look like I get many morale changes. I know I said I was going to have a quiet deadline day, but we've got trades galore in this episode. I'm very happy to have Sean Durzi too. That's a 1-year deal. We can see potentially re-signing him. He's the perfect kind of guy we would get in the market. A 2-way defenseman that looks great on both ends, and can easily play on the top pairing or more likely playing on the middle pairing, with one of our other defensemen. So I'm happy with that. That pushes Manson down to the 3rd pairing. Really happy with what we have accomplished so far. And yes, we're not quite there yet, but we'll see. We could bring back Michael Backlund. He's found his way to Nashville. But I honestly think that I'm done making trades. I mean, potentially a team that wants to give up their 2nd round pick, I could call them and see what it would take to get it, like the Carolina Hurricanes here. They would give it for a 2nd in Giordano, Corso and a 4th, Cormier, Hellenius straight up. Hellenius straight up might be a decent move to get a 2nd this year. Hellenius is 74 at 19. Question is a 2nd round pick. I don't think a 2nd round pick is going to net us the same kind of player. So, in all honesty, I may just go into the draft without a 2nd. We've got I could maybe look to move a 3rd and a 4th for a 2nd. See what teams would give us for a 3rd and a 4th. Could I get a 2nd from somebody? I doubt. Oh, there's a 2nd in Armstrong. We get Armstrong and a 2nd. That's an easy move up for me. And that's this year's 2nd too. So, I mean, that's one we could absolutely do. I think I'd better wait to see the actual pick. Right? We've made this mistake before going for picks at the deadline. Now, this isn't that big of a deal. It's a 2nd round pick one way or the other. But I think for now, I'm going to hold on to these. But we definitely know we can move into the 2nd round this year or next year, right? We go after save the quantity of picks to go after the guy we really want. So I'm going to say no to thank you to any more trades. I'm happy. I like our defensive situation. Our forward core stays intact. Our goaltending situation, if Spencer and I can just figure it out, will be good. And then after that, we'll see. But I'm going to exit the trade deadline, and we'll hopefully just get into some more, Sean Durzi lost morale for having anxiety, but a lot of people liked the trade. Saros goes to Arizona for Schmaltz and Lodin. That is a big one. That is a big old trade right there. Take a look at the lines. Did they mess them up on me? Should be 3-2-1. It is now 3-4-1. I actually don't mind Zykov on the second line. He is listed as a second line forward. These guys on the top line, I might just trust the coach's judgment here. He wants, yep, I'm actually very happy with this. Sean Durzi going on the top pairing because I think he is slightly better than Mason Jackson going forward. And then Mason Jackson's offensive weakness can be covered by Luke Hughes, who's, I guess not that much better. But Lucas Cormier here, yikes, is not doing great with Josh Manson. Maybe Cormier out for Giordano. Gio does not fit that part of the scheme, but I am going to play him. I'm going to play him there over Lucas Cormier just for now, just for a week. I think we've got quite a few games in this week here after the trade deadline, is what it's looking like. So let's go up to the 14th. We have 2, 4, 5 games. 5 games. Yeah. I think if we don't go 3-1-1, picking up 7 points, I think 7 points out of 10 is what I'm going to shoot for. We'll see how Giordano's doing and potentially could end up scratching him. But here we go. We pick up a point against Minnesota. We lose to the Nashville Predators. Okay, overtime losses there. So 67 points. Yikes, guys. We may be looking at more of a tank and potentially trying to get in the lottery than we are looking at jumping up into the playoff race. I think it might be a done deal for this season. Defensively, Giordano is, +1. He's a -3 in those games, so I am actually going to get to bench him again. We're going to put Lucas Cormier back down there. So not a lot of hope. I mean, it looks like we're about 4 points out. Timeout. Are we? Yeah, we are 4 points out, but the Ducks and Oilers have 2 games in hand on us. We'd have to get really hot, but we play San Jose 3 times. A team below us in the standings, we play them 3 times. Then we play the Avalanche, who are also below us in the standings. So that's actually 5 games right there that are definitely winnable. The Canucks, we could control our own destiny, sort of. And then the Ducks, oh God, this Ducks game right here is probably going to be huge. The Oilers and the Golden Knights. Oh, this is a huge game against the Golden Knights too. Okay, so let's get up to the end of the month, see if those games are going to matter or if we just continue to nosedive. Central Scouting, we do beat the Sharks twice. We lose to the Avs. We pick up a win against Vancouver, pick up a point there. And there we go. Okay, so a bit of a point streak now. Overtime loss followed by 2 wins, a loss, but then 4 straight games with a point. And we are now, as far as the wild card is concerned, we're pretty much out of the wild card race. We've played 1 more game than the Jets and 2 more than the Predators, but 6 points behind them. But we are only 1 point back of the Ducks. With a very important game coming up here. Vegas is also a team right around us, so I want to get up to this Vegas game. We got to keep this momentum rolling. Against Nashville, we pick up a win. Against St. Louis, we pick up a win. Huge wins there. And now, with 82 points, we are actually 2 points back of the Predators after we've beaten them. Holy moly. We are 1 point back of the Kraken for second. We play them. The end of the season is going to be crazy. We need to keep this. We need to at least get a point against the Golden Knights. We absolutely need a point here against Vegas. And we are going to get one. We do get one, and we move into a divisional spot. 1 point ahead of the Oilers. The Ducks have 2 fewer games played and are 2 points back. Beating them here is massive. And the Kraken coming up is another massive game on the schedule. Against Anaheim, can we get the 2 points? We do in a big way. A 7-3 thrashing of the Anaheim Ducks. And oh my God, I don't know if you guys can see it because my camera might be in the way. I'm hoping that editing me has just I've disappeared or gone somewhere else. But 1 point behind the Kraken now at 85. And honestly, guys, the Ducks do have a game in hand. They can still ruin the party because they have way more wins than we do. But we've got way more overtime losses. So I guess we're just really good at getting the point. We're the Toronto Maple Leafs of this universe, although I guess our entire division is with 12, 12, and 11 in overtime losses. But this game against Seattle, huge. Home ice. Come on. Can we get it done? Against Seattle, we win another 7-goal game, and Tage Thompson's above a point per game now. Holy cow. And with 87 points, we're not safe yet. We have not clinched. The Ducks have won. The Kraken, everybody controls their own fate, I guess. What do we need to have happen here in the final game of the season? What needs to happen? Vancouver, clinch. They're in, absolutely. But there are still, I mean, I guess even, I don't think the Oilers, let's take a look at the Central Division. Yeah, the Predators at 87 points. Okay, so the Predators are at 87. We could still do, oh my God, I got to go to Western Conference. So the Ducks, Predators, Flames, Kraken. I don't know how the Oilers are not eliminated yet. I guess if the Kraken lose and the Oilers should be, the Oilers are eliminated. The Oilers are not, there's no possible way that they can get there because the Ducks and us hold the divisional spots. The Kraken are out, right? So, all right. So the tiebreaker is regulation wins. We have 30. We've got the tiebreaker over Seattle and the tiebreaker over Nashville, but do not have the tiebreaker over the Ducks. That is okay because... let's see, that's Central. Holy cow. Vancouver is the only team in the Pacific that is clinched so far. So the Anaheim Ducks are number 2 in the Central. Okay, so a win and we're in, right? We cannot be knocked out if we win. We won't get the 2 seed with a win, but we guarantee the playoffs with a win. With a point, we guarantee ourselves the playoffs. With a loss, we would need the Kraken to lose. The Kraken can't win. Unless if we lose, the Kraken can't win. Other than that, we are in the playoffs. We just need a point. A point would probably seal the deal for us here as well. We cannot drop this game in regulation. The LA Kings have 60 points on the season. They are just here to play spoiler. They are 12 points, I think 11 points behind the next worst team. We have to win this game. This is a must-win game. On the road in LA, we win 5-3, and we have clinched the playoffs in season number 3, gaining a bunch of locker room chemistry for clinching the playoffs. And look out, we made it to the dance. The team gained morale. We might just have the makings of a dark horse candidate. And the Ducks are going to win their game, but the Kraken do not. And they are going to miss out on tiebreakers to the Nashville Predators. Everybody has played 82. We will be on the road to face the Ducks, but Tage Thompson only played 79 games this season, so he's staying fresh. He finished as a +10. Holy cow. Okay. He was a 31 points in 24 games. Are you kidding me? With a +7, 10 power play points. Didn't give away or take away the puck very much at all. Kuzmenko finishes with 83, so that shout from you guys in the offseason looks huge. He is getting paid $8.5 million for the next 3 seasons, so have him at point per game is great. Elias Lindholm, 75 points and 82. That's what I expect out of him. He's up to a 90. Dmitry Zykov with us had an even giveaway to takeaway ratio. 19 points in 24 games and was a -5, but still looking very, very good across the board. I think it was worth giving up what we did. Sticking with the forwards for now. Jonathan Huberdeau was a -6. Mangiapane with a -20, but put in 34 goals. So high event, Mangiapane. He steps on the ice and there's a goal. Don't know which way it's going to go, but there's a goal. Connor Zary with 57. He's seemingly like going to be a 57, 50 to 60 point player, somewhere in that range, right? He's been that every season. He's gotten better. This season, I think he played a similar amount of ice time, so I'm very happy with that. JJ Peterka was even, which is huge, might I add. Considering his Calgary career, he was a -37. I will take 42 points out of a third-line Peterka and an even +-. Ruzicka, down to an 81. I think morale was impacting that in a big way. Did have a down year. Definitely had a down year. Peltier with 25 points, Kyler Yamamoto, and then Ryan Johansson. These guys at the bottom, they both at 24 points. Did everybody have 10 goals on the team? Besides Johansson, sure. That is crazy. Tage Thompson, I'm very excited to see what he can do with a full season with us. If he's okay, what kind of point pace was he on? I got to do the math. 31 divided by 24 is 1.29 points per game. So over an 82 game season, that's a 106 point pace he played for us. Defenseman now, taking a look. Noah Hannafin with 29 points was a +7. I'm very happy. Good season from Hannafin here. Sean Dursey, how were you since we brought you in? 10 points +9. Guys, I think we should look into re-signing him. Mark Giordano played a few games, ended as a +1, but he was more here for morale, and we sold some jerseys, I'm sure. Luke Hughes with 19 points, but was a -6. Mason Jackson with 19 points, but was a +10. Josh Manson, how did you do with us? Probably not great. Yeah, -7, but he's now playing on the third pairing, and Lucas Cormier is scratched. Actually, no, he's playing. He's a -24. Not great. Spencer Knight, not a great season at all. I'm wondering if that's going to really hurt his overall and then hurt what he's going to ask for. I think it might. So that could be good for us, right? I think he's better than this. He's declined every year. He's still got 30 wins thanks to the team and the offense, but I think next season, good morale, not making letting too many players go. I really do think this team is poised to make a little bit of a run this year, but then next year, I think next year we can keep most of the core together. There's not a ton of expiring contracts. We've got guys coming up too that could end up being something. We've got growth on the horizon too. So I really, really, really think that this is a great, we're in a great position now. Sean Durzi wants an extension. What does he want? 5 years for $5 million for 4 years. I would do that. I would absolutely do that. Now, Manson and Giordano, I'll let them walk. Kyler Yamamoto, 2 years, $1 million. I feel like it's worth it. That's absolutely worth it. 2 years, $1 million for Yamamoto. He's the perfect fourth liner for us. Spencer Knight still does not want a contract extension, and he's still in a very, very high range. But things are looking great. And you know what I just noticed? Jerry Corso is up to a 66 at 19. He is continuing to grow and develop. And that's where we're going to go next, is taking a look here. Statistical growth is a big reason a lot of these guys are growing. You can see morale. Ruzicka's not having a great time, so morale is hurting, so he's really more of an 81. Ryan Johansson is dropping off and regressing. It looks like Mason Jackson is naturally developing his puck skills and his offensive awareness, so his offensive game is coming. He's already a great defensive defenseman. If he can develop some offensive firepower, he may be the next Rasmus Andersson for us. In the system, Oleg Brizgalov up to a 72 at low elite. A ton of natural growth. Same thing with Jerry Corso. Kondratiev as well, looking very good. A lot of growth, up to a 59. I think he was in the 40s, so now he's in almost a 60. Lekara Miyake is now up to a 79, a little bit higher there. It should be ready next season at 22 to make the jump. Haymanau at 21 has grown a little bit. Guys, we are in a really, really good spot. I am very happy with how we are looking. Let's take a look across the league and see how everyone finished up. If Tage Thompson kept on his 106-point pace, how would he have stacked up across the league? I know it's only like 20, 30 games, but still. 106 points is a top 5 player, hands down. Zibanejad with 109. Ovi putting in 62 goals at 40. Still a 92 is absolutely ridiculous. He's absolutely shattered the record at this point. I think so. Maybe not shattered, but 976 is incredible. He will get there because he's going to continue playing, I'm going to assume. Austin Matthews, Sidney Crosby, Kuznetsov with 101 points and only 17 goals. He's probably centering for Ovi. I think I know who won the Rocket Richard. Matthews putting up 57 as well. That is fantastic there. But guys, I'm very, very happy with how things are looking, right? We finally have some guys that I think are going to be capable of getting near the top in points. Now, defensemen, probably not happening, but I do want to see, how did Rasmus Andersson end up? He should be near the top here. There he is, 60 points, plus 24 for the Buffalo Sabres. He had 11 points and was a +3, so he was amazing for us, right? He was truly amazing for us. Did take a step back in Buffalo, probably playing with Power or Dahlin, right? I think that's a nasty Swedish defensive pairing of Dahlin and Andersson. So really, really nice to see him do well. Let's take a look at Edmonton. How did Lafreniere end up? Edmonton Oilers. Alexis Lafreniere, forwards, 50 points +2. So is he going to hit his potential here in Edmonton? 18 points, lots of points, but a -5 there. So really not that great. And then goaltenders, I'm sure that Spencer Knight was one of the worst in the league for any kind of starter category. Let's take a look at 40 games played. He's probably got a good amount of wins. Wow, Jonas Johansson, not a great season from him, but the lowest save percentage was Nedeljkovic. Spencer Knight right on the horizon. Worst goal against average, Devin Levi. Holy cow, is killing it. I considered trading for him early, but I didn't want to be the Sabres. Spencer Knight, yeah, third worst starting goaltender in the league by any measure besides wins, and I'm not going to give him the credit for wins. So we'll see how things go, but I'm very excited to get in the playoffs, guys. Those trades were massive. Let me know your thoughts on them. Maybe I gave up too much, but we're finally in the playoffs. We played at a really good clip down the stretch. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at the video, but it's looking pretty good here, guys. But that's all the time I have for this one. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see some more, and I will see you guys in the next one.
It's a free for all, free for all.